Good morning to everybody out on YouTube. Hopefully you can hear us out on YouTube. Let's check Norm. Norm, you can hear me? Why can't I hear any Norm?
You've got no screen share in the room as of this moment, though.
There we go. There's Norm. Yes, thank you, Norm. I always forget that step. Look at that. There we are. Uh-oh. And I just realized something else I didn't set up. My goodness, there's... Telling you guys, I'll get this eventually. Good morning, everybody. Once again, welcome. We've now officially survived 1 week of 2021. So we are now on the second Friday of 2021 and first trading Friday.
Yesterday on Twitter, I saw somebody that posted, just finished my 7-day trial of 2021. I'd like to cancel my membership.
Yeah, somebody put that in the chat room, I think, yesterday. I thought it was hilarious. The first time I'd seen it.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
That's yeah. It's been an interesting one, but the Earth is still spinning. Last I checked, around the sun, and we're doing okay. So take a deep breath and forge on, right? So. Norm and I were just talking before we jumped on here that there's just a lot going on and the markets continue to churn. So why don't we start there and let's talk about the markets. Norm, maybe I can hand it over to you and you can talk about the market pulse. I did get the economic reports up here today for you, which I didn't do yesterday. So.
Well, no problem. Yeah, so we're up like 0.5% on the Qs, 0.2 on the SPY. We just had employment numbers for December come out at the bottom of the hour 5 minutes ago. December non-farm payrolls came in, I believe, at negative 140,000 versus a gain of 50,000 expected. The unemployment rate did take a tenth down to 6.7 versus 6.8 expected. 6.7 is in line with last month. I'm guessing there was a slight decrease in labor participation rate due to that. I don't have the number in front of me, but just looking at those, it would make sense. And average hourly earnings, I believe, ticked up a good deal more than expected. So that's what we got. 10 a.m. we've got wholesale inventories, and we've got a Fed speaker at 11. And that's really the most important of the data this morning. We did have earnings. A lagger come out from Micron reported last night. Their third quarter earnings, and they were pretty blowout number. So I'm sure we'll dig into that in just a little bit. And yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it's their fiscal first. I'm not sure when it ends. It's not for the quarter ending. It doesn't include December. I know that much. They're a late reporter, but I don't know if their fiscal's on a weird month deal or what it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, it ends November, so it doesn't include December.
Right. Yes, and they're down a little. Well, they're up, gapping up this morning, but they're way down on the gappers list, which is pretty big this morning, as it has been, well, I can say all year so far. So, again, we're gapping up. All right, with that, thank you, Norm. Yesterday, yeah, we had a lot of stuff that was moving. As Norm mentioned, MU moved into the close. But before that, we had a few things that were sort of very active throughout the day. Tesla set new all-time highs, closing pretty much right at the high, around $820 or so. Now I see it's gapping up again to $850, so it's up. One of the tails of the tape, if you will, one of the most interesting offerings from yesterday was DDD. Opened the day around $12, pushed all the way up to somewhere around $25 before selling off a little bit through the afternoon. But certainly just steady move up time after time. I tried to short it somewhere around here, and that did not work out well for me. So you got to be careful about shorting a strong stock.
Right. That was absolutely insane, right? I took a little bit of it to the upside, and then I shorted it off 25 myself. I didn't get nearly the full move, but I caught a little bit of that. I think I've got a buck and a half off 25 to the downside, but that was just nuts to watch.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Well, and said I was foolishly trying to catch a top, and it just did not want to set one for a long time. So, which leads me to something I want to mention before we go into the gappers list for today. I had a great question from one of our members this morning. William was asking about ATR. So ATR is the average true range, which is a measure of, on average, how much does the stock move. And I have particular opinions about ATR, and we got into a little bit of a conversation about it that I just wanted to share with everybody. So, ATR is, like all tools in the stock market, is very useful if used properly, but I find a lot that people misuse it. So I just wanted to quickly talk about ATR. If you're using ATR to understand how far a stock is likely to move in any given day, I think that's perfectly appropriate for a stock that is not in play. If you're looking at Apple on a day that it doesn't have news, or Microsoft, or even AMD or anything, by all means, use the ATR. But careful about using ATR with the stuff that we talk about here in the morning and stocks in play. We just talked about Tesla. Let's go back and look at that for a second. That's a great example. The ATR for Tesla is about $36. And by the way, I like to use a website called FinViz to look up the ATR, and you can see the ATR listed here. What's happened here? I've lost my other screen. And the ATR, I said, is about $36, $35.91, as you can see listed on the screen right here. But so if you took the assumption Tesla did not have news yesterday, right? There was nothing particularly in play other than it's been pushing at all-time highs for a few days now. The word of caution I want to give you is if you assumed that at the point at which Tesla hit the $36, you're saying, well, now it's probably overbought, and I'm looking for it to pull back. Tesla closed, let's go back 2 days ago, it had a close of $755, add 36 to that, you're looking about $791, $792, right? Well, there's an $800 big number coming up, and if you tried to short it around that point, you would have been killed, because this thing spiked, as you can see right here, up to 811 before pulling back, and as I mentioned, going up to well, after hours it went up to 830, but during the market it pulled down and then right back up to 811. So I just want you to be very cautious about using ATR appropriately. DDD that we just talked about is another great example. I think the ATR on Triple D is something like it's a $1.60, or maybe it's even less. Hold on a sec, let me check it right now. Yeah, $1.65. So if you made the assumption that at a $1.65 or so it might be overbought, and it's going to pull back, like I said, this thing opened around $12, pulled up to 25. Again, it can be a recipe for disaster if you misuse it. So moving that forward, as Norm mentioned, MU is in play today. The ATR on MU for today is $2.60. It's already gapping up more than that. And the question I actually got was, do I think that MU is maybe overbought because it's up above the ATR? Well, today's a day where it's absolutely in play, and there's nothing saying that MU can't go 2-3 times that. Who knows? It might not, but I don't think today's a day to use the ATR to gauge the amount that MU can move. Again, personal opinion, but I thought I'd share that for some perspective for all of you. So with that...
Or in DDD's case, 10 times that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So let's get into some of the things that we've got in play today and take a look. We've got a few themes that you're going to see this morning, so maybe with Norm's help we can go through some of the themes to save time. There's going to be a bunch of blockchain stocks that are in play. Overnight, it gapped up again to over $42,000 for a Bitcoin. So you're going to see a whole bunch like FTFT, Mara, Riot, NCTY. There's a bunch of these that are here. I'm going to look at them to see which ones look good. But unless, Norm, you've got some other specific news in them, we'll just handle those as a bulk. The two other categories... we've been seeing all week, guys, are EVs. Anybody that's an EV stock, they just generally seem to be moving the last little while. Or, you know, Baidu's an example where they've had a deal this morning with Norm. Is Getty? I'm not sure if you had a chance to look that up, but I think Baidu is moving. So, you know, that seems to be in play. And then energy stocks are generally in play. So again, unless there's some specific news in the company, we'll look at them to see if they're looking good pre-market as something we might want to put on our list to watch once the opening bell rings. So with that, let's start at the top of our gappers list, which currently has FTFT as our biggest gapper. As I mentioned, as far as I know, I didn't see really any news. This is all based on the fact that blockchain, you know, and Bitcoin is up, and therefore all of these stocks that are doing crypto mining and that are up as well. So it does look good pre-market, though. We've got some good motion on it. It's a second day where it's gapping up big, so I will keep an eye on FTFT. Oh, Andrea Cass in the room is saying that FTFT has some specific news. I don't know what that is, but I'll take your word for that. Mara is also moving up. Now, it's been a consistent mover, also in the same space. It actually looks good pre-market as well, so I am also going to leave that on my list. I noticed UAVS jumped onto my list here. I think that's a low float. No, it's 52 million. Looks okay pre-market. I did not look up any news on that, so Norman, if you can help me out there, if there's some news on UAVS.
I was actually just pulling that up because I don't think it was on the gappers for very long. Let's see here. What do we have? It looks like a secondary, or at least they priced their secondary that they'd already announced. So
okay. All right. Well, I don't.
That was 3 days ago, so I don't consider that fresh news, and it wouldn't be the reason for this. I don't see that as being a reason for this move, so I'm not quite sure.
Right.
I apologize.
No worries. Oh, wait a second. Jesse's giving us some information here. Okay, that seems to be an article. They were featured in an article titled "Drones Set to Deliver Packages Everywhere in the Country in near the Future." Boy, that's grammatically
There's some kind of partnership, it looks like I see on Benzinga that might have been announced, but that was yesterday. I wish I had an answer. I don't know what's going on with it.
Isn't that feels like that was like very 2018 news when drones were going to be delivering packages everywhere, and then it sort of faded off. And anyways, I'll add it to the list because on the daily, I like the way UAVS looks. It's breaking out from an area here that it had set a high back on the 23rd of December, right before Christmas. So it might very well be in play. So moving on, Riot. Riot also looks okay pre-market, and it's gapping to the top of its range. So we've got some good movement on these crypto plays. GOEV is on our list, 365,000 shares, so not huge volume this morning, up 9%. I think we also looked at this yesterday, if I recall. Pre-market
off the last. So.
Yeah, pre-market does not look good, so I will not add that to my list. WWR pre-market also does not look good. 500,000 shares. Look at that daily. That looks terrible, right? Flat in a range here. I'll just keep moving, Norm, unless you tell me there's news to look at.
No.
Plug has been, again, on our list quite consistently. I know a lot of people have been playing Plug, so it's been giving some good trade opportunities. It actually looks pretty good pre-market. The daily also looks good as it's at the top of the range. So I'm going to add Plug to my list here, and we'll keep an eye on that. SRNE, wow, I haven't seen that on the list for a while. 770,000 shares, up 7%, very flat daily, so it doesn't look great there. Pre-market looks okay. It's got some gaps in volume here, but yeah, it only looks okay, not great. I don't know about SRNE. I'm going to put it down here. Geez, we got a ton of stuff, guys. I just, MVIS, I don't even know. I'm going to flip through these quickly just to see if they look good. MVIS doesn't look good. Moving on. EBON also doesn't look good. Still moving. DM. No, hate that, Nicola. By the way, guys, just so you know what when I say I don't like it, usually when I see a lot of candles that look something like this, right? These types of candles where there's essentially no volume, flat candles, right? This shows gap in the price action. So even though we might have some volume on the daily, it's not consistently moving, and it doesn't, and if the daily is also really flat, it's probably not my best candidate for moving aggressively when the bell rings. So it might become in play, but then that's when I can use my scanners to say it pops up and leverage our chat room where other people may be watching it that they can call it when it comes up. So, but otherwise, there's always a lot to pick from, so I'm not going to put it on my list if it's not looking great. We just have too many great looking candidates I can pick from. All right, BNTX. Terrible pre-market so far. Neo, well, shouldn't be surprised.
It happens until you find something decent.
Yeah, no worries. So Neo, it looks good. It usually does. So there's Neo's almost a constant here on the list these days. So we'll throw it back on there. BT doesn't look great pre-market. I know we have been looking at that for a few over the last couple weeks. FUTU, Futu Holdings. Terrible pre-market. That looks awful. BE, don't like the look of that either. Bloom Energy has been up here. Tesla, no surprise. Tesla's gapping big. Another $38 here. Again, all-time highs. This will be in play. I did actually take a trade on Tesla yesterday. I surprised even myself on doing that, but I don't know. It's getting close to $1,000 again. I don't know. It gets harder and harder to trade as it moves up here because the spread gets huge. I mean, the spread pre-market right now is better than it normally is when the market is open, when the spread can be 50 to 80 cents. So, worth setting levels on, but not likely to be something that I'm going to trade. But I know many of you may, so we'll put it on the list here. JMIA, haven't seen that on our list for a little while. Low volume so far this morning, only 187,000 shares. Doesn't look good. I don't like the price action. Guys, and I'm just going to flip down here because we're seeing just LI. Actually, let's look at LI and XPEV because I know that a couple of members were calling out LI for good trades yesterday. It doesn't look fantastic pre-market, but it can move. Same with XPEV. So obviously these EV plays, Chinese EV plays, have been on the move recently. If you look at the daily, right, relatively flat, but because they have sort of big motion within that, you can sometimes get good moves on them. I don't see anything that's particularly drawing me to either one of them. So as usual, I'll just put them on my list if they pop up. Oh, how about a local favorite, Solo? That's one of Brian's favorites. I think he says he knows some of the founders there. Ugh, pre-market looks terrible, so nothing great there.
BBB favorite, different than mine.
Yeah. All right. Well, favorite for Brian to mention at least. BBBY was a play yesterday, so they had earnings. Was that right? Yeah, I think they announced earnings yesterday. It was, as always, BBBY is a tough play. If I go back and look at the price action from yesterday, I tried to trade it short at the open, and it was clear that it did not want to break down below 18 here. So I got out of it, and you know what? I just got out of it. Thor was the smarter trader. He took it long and got a good move here off the open. But as per usual, BBBY, if you get one good move, it's a good day on it because look what it did for the rest of the day, right? Literally just chopped sideways. So I have no interest in putting on my list for today. And that's about X. Let's look at X. I haven't looked at that in a while. US Steel. Yeah, nothing particularly great going on here. Interesting, it's gapping up this morning, but it's definitely sort of leaning down pre-market. So that might come into play, but it's not there yet. All right, so let's go to the stuff that's gapping down. We have this huge gap up list with the markets moving up, but the gappers down has some stuff of interest. Do you notice I already put SRPT on my list? Norm, I know there was some news there this morning, driving that down 50%.
Yeah, they had some drug trials that were not so bueno that came in and it just crashed at 50% yesterday, essentially.
Yeah, look at this, guys. I mean, it was trending here around 160, 170. Now it's way down $80. That's a big 50%. I mean, so if you were a long-term holder of this, thinking you were good, yeah, you're not a happy camper this morning. So that definitely, I think, will be in play and have some motion. Surprised the price action doesn't look better than it does, but we'll see what happens once the market's open. I expect to see some movement on it, so we'll definitely keep it to set some levels. SLDB is one that I didn't look up. It wasn't on the list earlier this morning. That's why. It only just over 100,000 shares, down 20%. Solid Bioscience. The pre-market looks terrible, so I don't have any interest in that, frankly. It's probably a low float. I didn't even look, but PEC. Down 13.6%, just over 200,000 shares. Pre-market also does not look good. It's been moving though last few days. Let me take a peek at the last few days. Yeah, see, this price action doesn't look great. What do they do?
It's on a secondary.
Oh, okay, so it's a secondary offer. PEC Company Holdings. Well, that tells me
Solar.
nothing.
And it's solar. They just bought a solar company they're acquiring. It is what's the float here? It's 2 million share float. This is the story that we talk about. I don't know that you and I have this week, but Carlos and I do often, about the played out low float that has its one glorious day and people try to hang on to it for a few days. And I've never seen that as being a great idea. So.
Yeah, I would agree on that. So PAC is one that personally I'll pass on. If it comes heavy into play, we might take a look at it. But for now, not going to make my list. Sunworks, pre-market. Well, we've only got. Back to a 1 minute chart. Does not look good pre-market really. It's trending down. However, being down 7% on a day after yesterday when it moved up quite significantly here. Looks like it was up almost 50%. Yeah, $3 on a $6 stock. So this is probably just a pullback after the whatever hype pushed it up yesterday. So far, not looking great again. If it jumps into play, I'll worry about it. And DDD. Well, Triple D we did mention because that huge day it had yesterday. This is a NYSE stock. And NYSE stocks, so New York Stock Exchange stocks, don't often trade as freely and as well as NASDAQ stocks, in my experience. While it's got volume this morning, the price action doesn't look great. This, at best, would go into a secondary. I just think because of the size of the move, maybe I'll want to keep an eye on it to see what happens. But honestly, I expect it to be pretty boring today. I'm not expecting a lot out of Triple D. VLDR, yeah, doesn't look good pre-market, so not much going on there. Uber hasn't been on our list for a while. What's going on with Uber? Any news there?
Uber closed an all-time high yesterday, and then there was a report right after market hours that Goldman's looking to unload something like 32 million shares they hold, which spiked it down, I don't know, 4 or 5%. So that's what's going on there.
Okay, so that's relatively minor news. The pre-market action doesn't look great. Like, we have very, very low volume here, 800,000 shares, but you can see most of it happened in just a couple of blocks. It looks like so. Yeah, I don't. The pre-market action doesn't look great, but the fact that it hit all-time high yesterday means it might be in play today. I'll put it on a secondary list and we'll see. BLNK. Well, there's one I also haven't seen for a while.
I will highlight that there were just a ton of good-sized orders between 10,000 and 34,000 shares each, and I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orders rapid fire over the course of about 40 seconds that all went off at 53.70. So that would be a significant level on Uber there. Not sure that that's either a floor or a potential new ceiling, but when I see a bunch of orders all go off at the same time at the same level, something's going on right there at 53.70.
Well, and do you know, did the Goldman article say when they're looking to unload these shares? Probably not, right? They probably wouldn't tell you when.
No, It was just a rumor.
Okay.
And then there was just 100,000 share order went through at 53.72 right now. So
Right.
there's definitely action picking up on Uber right now.
Well, I'll put it on my secondary list, and we'll keep it there. All right, we were taking a peek at BLNK. Again, pre-market, 1 million shares on it. Pre-market action, though, doesn't really look great despite the 1 million shares. It's in a range here. I mean, if it moves out of, I would say if it gets under 40 or over about 45, 46, it might come in play. Right now, it's sort of sitting in a consolidation area. Any news on Blink, Norm?
I have not looked at it this morning.
Second, Jesse's telling us there's a secondary at 41, maybe. 41.
Yeah, they've priced their secondary that they've announced. So they announced it a few days ago when they priced it.
All right. Well, that's usually that's the type of news that doesn't make a stock move significantly, but it will. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll put it on my list. We'll put it on the secondary list down here, and we'll see what happens. All right, last one I'll look at off of this list is gold, because it's it doesn't look great pre-market. All right, let's go to the room and to Facebook. Tell me if there's anything you want me to take a look at. First one I saw already was FCEL. I have traded that a couple of times over the last 2 weeks. Today it's moving up. Maybe to all-time highs. I'm not sure. No, this is not all-time high range, but has 2.3 million shares today. Did I miss that? Oh yeah, it is there in our gappers. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. FCEL doesn't look bad. This may be a new stock in play because it's been fairly consistently moving for the last few days. So SRPT, I see someone ROM 30s mentioning, but we already looked at that. Workhorse, did I look at Workhorse? WKHS. Pre-market action looks terrible. I like the daily though. If it's is it gapping up? It's gapping up only minorly though. That's why it's not on our gappers list. Barely up 0.8%, 300,000 shares. You know, while the daily looks good, unless I see some pre-market action, Workhorse, doesn't always come into play. So I think I will wait and just see if it comes into play during the day. DKNG, I see someone else mentioning. Again, it's one of those that might come into play today, but so far nothing happening pre-market. Let me go to YouTube. We've got, what is it? IPOE. What the heck is that? IPOE. Social Capital Hedosophia. What is a Hedosophia? Okay. Is that a word? Social Capital Hedosophia. I don't even know what that is. Anyway.
Shama Parababadata SPAC that's merging with SoFi, I believe.
Okay. Well, this is weird because the pre-market, there's action pre-market, so we've got that. I don't like the fact that it's got all of these wicks, right? There's no consistent movement, so I don't know what this thing would look like to actually trade. Let me go back here and we'll just look at the daily from yesterday. So pretty modest movement yesterday. Maybe today is the day that this moves, but being like a special purpose, vehicle, really an investment vehicle, I'm not that excited about it. I don't think I will take a look at it. I mean, the levels here, by the way, it looks like it's just a recent IPO that's essentially at all-time highs. Hit that yesterday, so really no levels to set on it. So might be something for someone to play, but I won't put it on my list. Last one here, mRNA. Did I look at that already? I'm just used to saying it. Moderna. All right. The daily is looking, again, range bound here. It's got to get out of this range over 122, under 108, I would say, for me to be interested. Pre-market looks terrible, so nothing great going on there. So Hamish, yeah, I don't see anything attracting me to Myrna for now. If it comes into play, then we'll worry about it. All right, with that, I've put us over time. We'll do our usual announcements. Should be pretty quick here on a Friday, and then we will get into setting levels. Oops, and I started again at the end. I forgot to reset this. 1 sec. There you go.
All right, man. All right, so Thor's webinar on using fixed risk hotkeys is posted. That's in the technology section for elite members. Next week, we've got Dr. Gary Dayton talking about mental blind spots and how hidden habits can affect your decision making in trading. That'll be next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then Dr. Reed's, and it's not the trend following, it was on minding your stops. That is posted in the psychology section. Next week, we've got Crate at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, note the special time, talking about using mental imagery to help improve your trading performance. If you're interested in participating in the BBT member trade of the day or trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day, post it on Twitter, mark it up. It should have entries and exits, obviously, but then mark it up with thoughts on the trade. Give any color you can to describe why you took it, how you took it, exited, and everything else. Post it on Twitter, tag at Nerdable Traders at Mike_BBT and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, Stock Market. We will announce the winner for each day on Twitter and in the closing bell show, and then the team votes for all the trades of the day for that week, and that'll be announced for the trade of the week on Monday. Note that there is a forum post in case you can't keep up with what I'm saying here that puts all this in detail so you can participate.
And we've had some great trades shared with us, so thanks so much for submitting those, and keep it up. There's some great trading going on. We love to see it.
For sure. Also, if you'd like to, if you're watching this on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, would like to do so, use the promo code PREMARKET24. That will give you a discount off the intro membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the chat room, doesn't auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. Also includes access to Carlos's onboarding class. Carlos and Mike do every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern live. Hopefully he's back for Monday nights. I believe he will be.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I'll take the opportunity to say I had the chance to just chat with Carlos this morning over text. He wanted to thank everybody. So many of you sent him notes of support and for him and his family during this time when his grandmother passed away, and he really appreciates this. He said he hasn't had the opportunity to respond to them, but he's read every single one, and thanks everybody for their support. So obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to Carlos and his family in these times, but his grandma was, I think, 97. He was saying the family was taking comfort in the fact she lived a very full life and made the most of it. So hopefully Carlos will be able to rejoin us on Monday. All right, with that, let's get to setting some levels. As always, I will do 2 things. I will set our 8 a.m. candle level where it's appropriate, and then I will set some daily levels. I'm going to go through this list. We'll try and do it at warp speed. So MU definitely got the daily level I need to set right here, so we get that. As for the 8 a.m. level. As for daily level, we are at all-time highs. Let me just go back here on the day and make sure that I'm not lying to you. But yeah, we are at all-time highs, so we got nothing. So we are in open air territory, which actually can be fun to trade. This stock has the opportunity to move. We'll see what happens. FTFT, we're going to start on a series here of stocks in the blockchain. Moving up quite significantly. We do have an ADM candle, but frankly, I do not expect it to be heavily in play on FTFT, but I'll mark it just in case because you never know. Here we are at, now see, let me just talk about this daily for a second here with all of you. So FTFT, look how much it's up compared to the recent action, right? So recent price action had this thing around $2. It's jumped up. We're trading $8, $9 right now. But when you move back in time, right, you just have to go back to 2016. This stock had spiked up here, up as high as $19, and we'll go back even farther. You can see that this thing has been up like, I don't know where this thing stops, but up as high as 60 bucks. So, you know, I'll just say generally that's a warning sign that this thing can move, and it could be very erratic. So just keep that in mind as you're trading. It could give you a good opportunity, but don't be surprised if this thing moves strongly in one direction or another and suddenly. So now that being said, let me set a daily level at 1140. I like where that sits. I'm also going to set one, see the high of this candle back here, $9.38, where it peaked out right around there. So I'll set that, and the last level I'll set for FT. FT is up here at 1380-ish. All right, so that's good for that. Mara, let's take a look at that. Once again, another one of these that, you know, as happens in this space, right? It's up big compared to where it was, but not as big as it has been. So we know this thing can move. $40 is a level right there. 27 is a level here that we might want to keep an eye on. Again, will it even, you know, care or pay attention to it? Have no idea. But I'll mark the level just in case it decides to play there. Here's our 8 a.m. candle. Whoops, I got to mark the high of this properly. 2606. Only off by a penny, but there we go. All right, Riot. Riot's going to be the same story. Set that level. We'll come down here. Anything worth mentioning? Well, let's come back to 2018 when this thing was spiking. We're at $25 now, and definitely we saw that this thing can move. I'm not really seeing any relevant levels in here. There's a high of 24 back here at this candle, so maybe that's something of relevance. Sure, I'll mark up here, but I frankly have no expectation that'll be in play. All right, that's good for Riot. NCTY, probably my least favorite of these. In fact, being that I have other better options, I'm going to take it off my list. You're dead to me. WWR. All right, why did I have it on here? Oh, they're selling their uranium business, right? Pre-market doesn't look great on this. I don't know. This might be in play. I'm going to put some levels here just in case. 760 is where I want this one because it's the high of that candle. So we will set this at $7.60. If it drops here, what's the low of this candle is $4.37. So I'll try and peg a level right there. Excellent. Now I've got a range for it to play in. We'll see what happens. Baidu is up as we mentioned. Oh, right, because they've got this EV deal. Well, their 8 a.m. interesting. Their 8 a.m. candle is a full candle here. Whoa, what did I just do? I just clicked off of it. Baidu, 8 a.m. candle right here. Look at that. That's interesting. So we'll see if that comes into play. And as for this range, well, is this, no, not all-time highs on Baidu. It has been up much higher. 226 is where we sit now. We can see that it had a consolidation around this area before, with it peaking around here at 234.88. So I'm going to actually put this at 235 even. And I'll leave that level there, and we'll see what happens here today on Baidu. SRPT, as we mentioned, is one that is down big due to that poor results in their study. 8 a.m. candle's probably going to be above the price range for today, but you never know. Maybe this will act as resistance, the bottom end of this candle here at 85.26. I want to make sure that's exact because that may be important. So, and then as for a daily range, well, this is way below where it's been recently. However, look at where it stopped. There's an area here at which it consolidated. So what's the low of these candles? 78.39, 78.06. So I'm going to put a level here at 78.37 because I want advance notice if it gets to that level. It could very easily get to that level. And if it breaks that, my next level below that is down here at 72. So I've got warnings, you know, markers, if you will, set if this thing continues to drop. We'll see what happens on SRPT. If it goes up, does a little pullback, people decide it's oversold, the next area of potential resistance it may give to the upside is here, 90, what is the low here? Sorry, low is 91.50. I'm going to put this at 91.50. 91.50. All right, that way I've got my warning on SRPT. UAVS is the next one, pushing up to the highs. I'll mark this to start here on the 1 minute chart at 8 a.m. Next, we are just over this level, and this high was set at 872. Interesting. 872 was the high of this day. Notice that is within a couple of cents of where this 8 a.m. candle. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. It also peaked there around 7 a.m. So to me, that's an area that I might want to watch, right, for support if this thing pulls back around the 870s before it might bounce and move higher. We'll see. Plug is the next on my list. I will mark, again, this 8 a.m. candle here and here. On the daily, we're up above this recent range and potentially, is this all-time high? Got over eager clicking here. No, not all-time highs. So I'm looking for levels that are above 50 bucks. We'll go back in time. It's in this area here that we were over that range. Let's see what we get. Oh, there's a gap in here, so I like that. That's interesting. So what was the low candle of this gap? 55.40, which, is that right? Hold on. Low of 55.40, high here of 55. Interesting. So I'm going to put a level at 55 because to me it's not coincidence that this, spiked high to basically match with the low of where this thing gapped up. So that'll be an area to watch. If it gets over 55, then frankly I'd be watching way up here at around 63, 64 to see what happens. But we'll see where plug goes today. All right. Running into time Neo. We already have levels set. It's still within this range here. All-time high 57. Well, look at that. That is all-time high, isn't it? Well, this could be an interesting day on Neo, guys. All-time high is 57.20, and we're playing pre-market above that all-time high. So no levels to set, but this Neo might absolutely be worth watching today. Tesla, as we already mentioned, way above the its all-time high, so it's playing up here in rarefied air, so we'll see where that goes. F-Cell also playing up here at the highs, so no levels to set there. All right. DDD, we have levels set from yesterday. I will just watch those with yesterday's high and low. That gives me a range we're already in. SRNE, again, consolidated in this range. I'm going to set, whoops, I'm going to change my chart. I'm going to set a level here around 860, and then one at the low at 660. So that gives me a range to watch for this. Again, only if it comes out of those ranges do I think I'll be really interested in SRNE, but I will keep it on a secondary list. And then Uber, two more here. Uber, 8 a.m. range doesn't look significant on the daily. Well, as Norm said, it did set a high yesterday, so that already gives me a range and some candles to play in, so nothing left to set. Blink is the last one, BLNK. I can definitely, oh my goodness, sorry about that. Definitely set an area up here at around 56. As to the low side, I definitely love the low of this candle here at 36.60-ish. All right. Whew. Got a ton of levels set. We'll see what happens. MU on the move a little bit as we head towards the open. Let's take a quick look at what our moderators are looking at in the room. We'll just bring this in for you. So far, I have John that is looking at Roku and Tesla, Tiffany, Tesla, Neo, SRPT, and Plug, Eamon, BTBT, DDD, Plug with the secondary of Apple, F-Cell, Nikola, and SRPT. Andrew's put his in. The EV sector mania continues. He is absolutely right on that. Neo, of course. Tesla and Plug. Mike is, as always, watching his break of high-day scanner with Roku and SQ again on his list. And Brian is watching Neo, SRPT, Billy, BA, and FT. For me, I haven't decided on my list yet. I'll have to look at that as soon as I get off the microphone here, but it'll be a selection from what I took here on this main list. I also haven't had a chance to put in the IPOs for today, as we do have a couple. I'm going to be watching GRCL, CGEM, and WNW. I'll get those into the room so you can watch them as well for today. We'll see if those three open on the day. As always, we thank you for being here. Thanks so much for allowing me to sit in for Carlos. As you know, I am not Carlos, and he will be back. We expect Monday, and we wish him and his family the best. And if he's not, you may see me here Monday with Norm as always. Thank you, Norm.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking over this week, especially on what was it, Tuesday, I believe,
so.
on very short notice. So thank you very much. Done a great job.
Problem. No problem. Take care, guys. Trade safe. As Carlos would tell you, you don't want to go into the weekend having traded poorly and beating yourself up all weekend over it. So trade smart. If you don't see your setups, be patient. Wait for them. All right, take care. Have a great trading day, everyone.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.